Hello dear viewers, welcome to the making of the tubes project, the one dealing with the materials. If you want to see how the geometry nodes were set up, check out the link in the top right corner. That will take you to that video. Also, you'll find it in the description. We will gonna look at the materials, how I set up the scene, the camera, the props, and that will give you an idea on how I built this project. And like you saw in the beginning, we will see a little bit of something interesting about volumetrics and glass-like shaders. A quick word of thank you to everyone supporting this channel by purchasing these projects from Gumroad. You have the link in the description if you want to do so. And also for the ones that are subscribing to this channel or liking to the videos, that's really good support for long term. But for now, I'm really interested on your comments because I want to improve the quality of these videos to give you guys something that is more to your liking and more helpful to you. So don't hesitate to post comments about what you like, what you dislike about these videos, or what you think could be improved. So thank you for doing that. Now back to this scene. Before going to the materials, I'm gonna switch to this editor. You see we have our geometry node set up here, the one highlighted. We also have a big plane and a cube. It's put in the viewport to be only wire. This is the fog domain volumetric shader, and this is the ground. And the ground, let's start with the ground. It's a very simple material. We have principal BSDF with this color, and the roughness it's a little bit above 0.5, and that's pretty much it for this shader. And the camera settings are also nothing really special. 35 millimeters. I did an animation on a depth of field at the beginning and end to get that blur effect that you saw in the demo. And as for lights, this scene has only one light. Is this point line that is instanced on these points, every point, and this one has this color and it has this power. And also if we go to the settings in the shadows, I activated the contact shadows. And as for the scene render, ambient occlusion default, bloom default, screen space reflection, and it's very important to check this one, refraction, because otherwise you kind of don't get glass basically. So you need to have this one selected. And speaking of glass, this is the tube material, the glass. As you can see, it's a white color and all the settings here are unchanged except for one thing. I turn on the transmission. I played a little bit with the EOR index of refraction, and I turn out that the default, that is glass, it's quite good, or water, I think this is water, I'm not sure. Anyway, you have online indexes for every materials, so that's not important. But visually I found out that this is looking really nice to diffuse that point light that is instanced inside. And it's also important in the material tab, either here in the optics panel, whatever, or here, choosing this icon that looks like a material, to make sure to have this enabled. Screen space refraction, that's gonna help with this glass material. And the other materials that we have here is the glow point, and that's a simple emission material, strength of 12, a bluish color with a value of 8. That's what makes this going. For the world shader, this time I haven't done anything to it. It's just the default black shader. And finally, we get to the fog domain material. It's a little bit more involved. We have a little bit of animation, the purple frame. Let's see, we have the texture coordinates here. And this mapping is important because I animated its X location, as you can see here. and I did a hashtag frame to get the frame. Here divided by a very large number, and I did a minus on it because I wanted the things to move in this direction, and by default they were moving in this direction. So that's decided by the domain you choose here. Point, texture, this for the mapping will change this. I usually leave it on default unless I have a good reason to change it. And to create this cloud texture that you see here, I use this noise texture with these settings, and I didn't do anything to the volumetrics. I leave it on default. This is the volumetrics here. By default, it's tile size 8 pixel. If you want more resolution, you change to a bigger one. I found out that the 4 pixel it's best performance to quality compromise. If you go to 2, the difference is unnoticeable visually, but the render times will drop significantly. So usually if I want more resolution, I just put this on 4. But for this, I leave it on 8 and it's just fine. I didn't want too much detail in this. So after doing this, I pass it through a color ramp because this is controlling the density of our volumetric shader. By default, it looks something like this, but this is breaking things apart. And I wanted full opacity, density, basically, on this part, but I didn't want to have any parts without any density. So I got this 0.003. If I switch it to black, you get something like this. But now you get something like this. It's nice because as the lights progress, they lighten, they are lighting the scene and show more of the tube, and you ending up with this effect. I also did this color that incidentally is the same as for the light. No, as for the ground, the light is a little bit different. So this is it for this project. This is what I did to create everything. Apart from that, is just deciding for the animation start and end. I didn't want to show the full tube, so even though my animation is 672 frames, I basically made this animation go to 1500. So that means that I'm not going to lit the whole tube, but it's perfectly fine as you saw for this project. Thank you very much for watching this and for supporting this channel by purchasing these project files and by subscribing and liking to the videos and commenting on them. It really helps this channel growth, and I thank you for that. Hope to that you will decide to return to see other videos if you find the content on this channel valuable. So of course, until then, have a nice day and happy blending.